Hello and welcome to coverage of Pro Tour Theros from Dublin. My name is Marshall Sutcliffe. I am with Brian David Marshall in the commentator's booth. It's the third round of draft. This is the second draft of the event. It's also the last draft of the event. And we have Chris Pikula on the right-hand side of your screen. He is going to be playing against Guillaume Wafo-Tapa. So you mentioned it before. These are two players. They're both excellent, and they're both from slightly different eras of the game.
Yeah. They were looking at Guillaume Wafo-Tapa as a player, the middle of the 2000s was just, one of the most dominant constructed players in the game. Four top eights in his career, and just, 63%. Chris Pikula, one of the older players in the field, 135 points. That's crucial. He needs 15 more points to get back on the Hall of Fame ballot. This is a guy who was fourth on the Hall of Fame ballot this year.
Yeah, so close.
But the point total to be on the ballot goes to 150 points next year. So he needs
this is a huge
16.
tournament for him.
This is a huge tournament for him.
I mean, if he can get to a super solid finish here, he can actually do that. Now, let's take a look at the board state.
Let's take a look at what these guys
Phalanx leader, followed up by a Nessian courser here for Guillaume Wafo-Tapa. Not what we're used to from Guillaume. He's known for his love of control decks in constructed, but here he is very much going to be the aggressor, facing down a Nessian courser from Chris Pikula as well. So this is where things can get really, really tricky, because if Guillaume has any instant speed tricks, it can make blocking a complete nightmare for Pikula here.
Yeah, and we see that he's holding Warrior's Lesson. He's got a Hopeful Eidolon.
So he's trying to decide if he wants to go for the Hopeful Eidolon that's going to allow attack with his Nessian courser and kind of plod things along, or if he wants to go for combat tricks. That's what he does here, though. Phalanx leader, one of the best uncommons in the set, I'd say. One of the most powerful cards. For only 2 mana, all it really asks is that you play some creatures and target it a couple times, and the game ends. Yeah,
Pikula's playing not just white-green, but he's playing white-green-blue.
Oh, he is.
Yeah, he's got an island. He's got a little bit of blue in his deck to activate Agent of Horizons, to cast Voyage's End. But he's going to be hard pressed to deal with that.
All right, we have a good old-fashioned Eidolon fight here.
Yeah.
And Chris Pikula is actually going to just go ahead and attack with his Nessian courser. He knows that blocking is not going to be a fun ride for him the next turn, so he might as well just lock up that 4 life gain, take Wafo-Tapa down a bit.
And this is just going to be the filthiest.
This is going to be disgusting.
Because despite the fact that he's green-white, Guillaume Wafo-Tapa still can draw 2 cards this turn.
For 1 mana. For
1 mana.
While putting put a +1/+1 counter on each of his creatures.
He can also play his Enthusa Setessan Hero, though, and set up to do some go pretty wide with his attackers on the next turn.
He has Enthusa in his hand?
Yeah. Let's take a look at what he's...
He is just going to run that out there, and he still has easy attacks this turn anyway. So 7 damage here to Chris Pikula. 3 of it's also lifelink.
So next turn he can target Enthusa and his Phalanx leader with the Warrior's Lesson, and then stack those heroic triggers.
So that his lands get the counters?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Chris Pikula has no idea what he's in for next turn, potentially.
And I have to assume that that's how this is going to play out.
Yeah, I mean... Wafo-Tapa has a Vulpine Goliath in his hand. If he ends up having some type of attacks available and draws a land for the turn, he might just want to play that and keep it going, but this is going to get nasty.
Then you're going to look at Enthusa Setessan Hero. Whenever you cast a spell that targets it, say with a Warrior's Lesson, up to 3 target lands you control become 2/2 warrior creatures until end of turn. They're also lands.
Yeah, you may remember this as a pre-release card for if that's the path that you chose.
You chose the Into the Woods path.
Lost in the Woods.
Yeah, lost in the Woods, yeah.
All right, Lagana
Band Elder comes down for Chris Pikula, gains 3 life, thanks to the enchantment Hopeful Eidolon.
That's right.
So that looks like
yeah. Man, Guillaume went pretty deep here. He's got a Centaur Battlemaster.
I think Green-White Heroic is an underrated archetype.
Agree 100%. Our coverage friend Jake Van Lunen, also one of his favorite archetypes, and he's had a lot of success with it online.
So, and just to give you an idea, in Guillaume's deck, we see 2 Storm-Chartered Warriors. We see the Anthusa. We see the Centaur Battlemaster. On the white side, he's got he's only got the Phalanx Leader for white. Most of his heroic cards are green. We see Chris Pikula sitting on a couple of God's Willings and a Divine Verdict, which is not an irrelevant card here.
I mean, he's sitting on his hands now and hoping he doesn't just get destroyed in this combat. Though Guillaume is carefully looking at the board here.
And
trying to figure out what he wants to do. So he can play Centaur Battlemaster and set up a sweet turn next turn, and that's what he's going to do here. No attacks. Guillaume Wafo-Tapa, known for being a patient Magic player.
Gives Chris Pikula an extra turn for him to not only draw a Wrath, but for have someone print it, build a time machine, and insert it into the set.
That's right. Now, this was critical, though, because this is going to mean that Chris Pikula is going to get advantage off of his Divine Verdict. He can use it to take out. I don't think that Anthusa is going to be – it could be a target, but the Centaur Battlemaster is going to be a big issue as well, and he's going to have to kill that at some point, too. This is where, you know, our friend the Sedge Scorpion –
yeah.
Where are you at, Sedge Scorpion? Yeah. Because he does a lot of work versus a deck like Guillaume Wafo-Tapa's.
By the way, on the back table, our Argentinian friends will be happy to hear that Mario Cartacchini is up 1-0 against Andrew Cuneo. So it looks like a Leaf Crown Dryad has enchanted the Phalanx Leader.
And this Phalanx Leader is doing so much work. Guillaume still has that big play in his pocket too, you know, and but for now he's just content to just build out his board. And I mean, he has just put out a massive board presence here, and Pikula's in an awkward spot because I mean I think he kind of wants to get that Divine Verdict out of his hand at some point here, but he didn't do anything on his last turn. And Wafo-Tapa says go. He just says go.
This is like when the heroes all just amass outside of the walls of your city.
You can hear them rumbling.
Just see their campfires burning in the night.
I think that Owen's up a game over Antoine Ruel on one of our side tables there. Those players both sitting on 7 wins. All right.
Yeah, this is a crucial match. These players are both 8-2 here.
And is that the Vulpine Goliath there?
That is the Vulpine Goliath.
All right, so Vulpine Goliath. And again, Guillaume Wafo-Tapa, you know, since the earlier turns has made it clear that his game plan is to just build out. He
knows his opponent is green-white. Like, there's not that many things his opponent can do. He can just build up this board and then just really exploit the leadership skills of his white uncommon.
Of his Phalanx Leader, yeah. He has been doing that. I think that's a time to feed there.
That is a time to feed.
I would guess that Guillaume is going to have the bigger creature most of the time.
All 3 God's Willings in hand for Chris Pikula.
He's only got 2 planes, so he can only fire off 2 of them.
He's only got 2 creatures.
And he's only got 2 creatures anyways. Oh, man.
Was that the battle cry of the Centaur Battlemaster ringing in our ears?
But Guillaume Wafo-Tapa commands a lot of authority while playing Magic, and we see that here. Wow.
I mean, what if he just Warriors lessoned here, Anthusa and Phalanx Leader? Like, what is Chris going to have?
So Chris is at 15, and I think it's just a math question here. I mean, if Guillaume decides, okay, one of my guys gets blocked and lives, one of my guys gets Divine Verdict, what happens?
Wait, that sounds like this is what he's going to do.
Warriors lesson, Warriors lesson. Now, triggers are going to go on the stack.
He's like, these 3 lands are going to become creatures before the Phalanx Leader ability resolves.
That's right. Can I get some more dice in the feature match area, please? There we go. So that's a 3/3, that's a 3/3, and that's a 3/3. And that's only going to stay that
Oprah
way.
Winfrey. Everyone gets a 3/3. And his 10,000 gets a little bonus.
Yeah, that's right.
The Fox is gigantic. The Centaur Battlemaster
7/6 trample. Battlemaster's a 5/5.
Oh,
and I think this is the time to feed. Unfortunately, he has to tap one of his 3/3s to do it. And that's going to do it. Chris Pikula. The writing was on the wall for him probably 3 turns ago. He was just waiting for Guillaume Wafo-Tapa to pull the trigger and finally finish him off. And he does exactly that. Wafo-Tapa up a game over Chris Pikula. Theros is available now on Magic Online. Play in sealed deck and booster draft release events from now through October 23rd to add the Harvester hero avatar to your collection. And then get ready for the Face the Hydra challenge running October 24th to November 6th. For more information, visit mtgonline.com.
A couple of people on Twitter asking, yo, Guillaume, where the islands, bro? Disappoint.
He certainly is known for that. You know, you walk up to anybody in this hall and say Guillaume Wafo-Tapa, and they're going to think islands, control,
I think if we,
slow down.
I imagine if we check back in with him during the constructed rounds that commence next round, we'll probably see some islands.
But I like it that he's.
Islands.
Yeah, I've seen some of his decks are blinding. Pretty cool though that he's able to switch gears and you know, go for completely different archetype in draft. He's not a one-trick pony, Guillaume.
Chris Pikula doing a little sideboarding here.
Got a really nice feature match area here. We've got Alexander Hayne and Martin Yuza battling on one of our side tables. We've got Owen Turtenwald versus Antoine Ruel. Yeah, all 4 of those players that I just mentioned are sitting on 7 match wins, 21 points as we look at it down here. And there's also Mariano Cartaccini from Argentina playing against Andrew Cuneo, another player well known for liking to play slow blue-based decks.
Yeah.
My land's a giant grows for that.
And we have a confirmation from Tim Willoughby down in the feature match area that, in fact, Andrew Cuneo is doing just that. Playing some blue cards, playing a little slowly. He really is a master of it, though. He sees things differently than most players.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And decided to work on his own. He's a Team Star City Games member.
Yeah, they will happily take his
and they'll
advice.
happily take him. But he decided to work on his own for this event. And he said, you know, he's like, I wasn't really able to get there the full week before. I wasn't able to commit the full week. And so for me, what I need to do then is play test on Magic Online. I need to play my decks. And he's like, I honestly just don't want to play my decks in secret. You know what I mean? He's like, and I don't want to have to ruin anyone else's deck, so I would rather just play by myself, draw my own conclusions about the format, rather than, you know.
And I mean, that can work out. You know, it's a risky proposition because you might miss something. And when you have a whole group of people, they don't. But works out pretty good. 2 prospective Hall of Famer. I hear
Chris
talking about the good old days of Stone Rain everywhere.
Demolish. That's actually better in this format.
Veteran players.
I had a lot of tough decisions. I did them to myself, so I'm gonna play.
So apparently Chris 2-0 so far in this draft in this draft pod. Apparently his last opponent had 3 Phalanx leaders.
Wow. And now he's facing down more.
That was his first. Yeah, he's like, wait, you have a Phalanx leader? My last opponent had 3 Phalanx leaders.
Jeez.
Which, by the way, he beat a guy with 3 Phalanx leaders.
Yeah, by the way.
All Phalanx leaders, no targeting. See a blinding hand by...
Sweet, both players keep. That's what we like to see down in the feature match area, and no turn 1 play here. That's pretty normal for limited, though.
I mean, sometimes, very rarely there are turn 2 plays. This is a format that takes a little bit of time to develop.
It does.
But the fouling,
Is this a
no fouling Sleater.
So Pikula gets to breathe a quick sigh of relief there.
And there's the Agent of Horizons.
All right, here's Lagana Band Elder. No bonus from it, but still a fine 3-2 body here to face down the 3-2 body Chris Pikula made on his turn with Agent of Horizons. He's got a 4-drop to follow up. It's actually a Leaf Crown Dryad, which is going to be making Agent Horizons a lot bigger, and he's going to send it in there as a 5-4. And it's a nice tempo play from Chris Pikula there that's going to put him in the driver's seat here to keep the pressure going. When you're playing white-green BDM and you've got a 5-4, you got to feel pretty good about attacking for the rest of the game with it. I mean, you can represent 100 different combat tricks.
Yeah, absolutely. There are +2/+2 pump spells all over the place in green-white in both colors.
Is that a Staunch-Hearted Warrior?
That is a Staunch-Hearted Warrior. Take a look at Guillaume Wafo-Tapa's hand. He had 2 Staunch-Hearted Warriors, and he now has 1. Reverend Hunter, Vulpine Goliath, Savage Surge, one of those pump spells, and a Time to Feed.
That's a lot of beef.
Yeah.
Time to Feed works really well with Staunch-Hearted Warrior as well. The trigger actually happens such that you can stack them so that you make sure that your Staunch-Hearted Warrior becomes a 4-4 before it fights. So and that's important.
There we see Chris Pikula's hand, Nylea's Emissary, a Divine Verdict, and a sideboarded Glare of Heresy.
Awesome.
Yeah, those cards have become a big deal.
Yeah.
We saw Gainsay on each side of the table in a blue matchup.
2 in one hand.
Yeah, 2 in one. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. We saw 3 Gainsays.
Yes. It was like Benthic Giant Gainsay. Like, what? That was a sweet one between Kai Bude and Rob Doherty.
Glare of Heresy gives Chris Pikula an early game answer to a quick fouling Sleater.
Yeah, this is an interesting spot too because we do see that Chris also hit his island. And that means that his Agent of Horizons can become unblockable, and it's a 2-turn clock. Like, right now, Guillaume Wafo-Tapa has to do something about the Agent of Horizons. And what he's probably going to have to do here is use his Time to Feed on his Staunch-Hearted Warrior and trade it off. So he's, he can decide right now, what if he attacks with Staunch-Hearted Warrior before combat here? Try to get a little greedy and get that 2 damage. And you can't imagine that Pikula is going to trade off his Setessan Griffin here for it. But he doesn't. He decides not to. He's going to play it safe, and actually just take out the Setessan Griffin here. So he's actually going to be able to do 7 to Chris Pikula this turn.
He is willing to race.
Well, because the 3 life gained from the Time to Feed creates an actual extra turn of clock here for Chris Pikula. So this is going to be a tight one.
And he can sneak in an extra 4 points of damage. Oh, actually more than that. He has the Savage Surge.
And he's going to play it right now. So that means that thing is 6. It's an 8/8.
Yep. He's getting in for 11 this turn.
Wow. So aggressive stuff here from Guillaume. It looked pretty good for Chris Pikula, but things have turned around sharply here.
And what was a 2-turn clock
is now a 3-turn clock. And by the way, he's facing lethal damage. So Pikula kicks things off by attacking his 5-4 Agent of Horizons, does not activate the unblockable, sends it in there, and Guillaume now has to decide if he wants to block with his 6/6 Staunch-Hearted Warrior. He's tapped out, but Pikula has 6 untapped mana, and again, he can represent any number of combat tricks. It looks like Guillaume wants to block here. He does. He blocks. And Divine Verdict to take down the Staunch-Hearted Warrior. And there's even a follow-up play. Glare of Heresy is going to take down the Lagana Band Elder, and Chris Pikula with a huge stabilizing play there. All right, Vulpine Goliath, though, is lethal for Guillaume Wafo-Tapa on its own. So let's see what happens now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Bestow. He's going to put Nylea's Emissary on it.
He's willing to trade here and then get 2 creatures out of it.
It's an 8/7.
We know that Guillaume is happy to just
start developing his board out here. Yeah. I mean, right now that Centaur Battlemaster that Guillaume just played is not lethal, but we know that he's one combat trick away from making it lethal. Okay, there's your beloved Wingsteed rider there.
Looks awesome right now.
That's a savage surge that Guillaume just drew to. So very nasty. Just update from the back table. Martin Yuza up a game over Alexander Hayne. He just won game 1 there.
Wow, that took a while. Look at the tools that Wafo-Tapa has to work with. He has a Reverend Hunter. He has a Staunch-Hearted Warrior. He has a Savage Surge. Things are looking pretty bad here for Chris Pikula.
They really are. Just so much action on Guillaume Wafo-Tapa's side of the table. Staunch-Hearted Warrior number 2 plus the Savage Surge. That's lethal. Savage Surge on his Centaur Battlemaster would be lethal. It's just such a tough spot for Chris Pikula here.
Yeah, Chris has just a Forest in hand.
Reverend Hunter, pretty sweet card for Guillaume as well. Can be a huge threat later. Guillaume has to decide if he wants to go for it here, how he wants things to play out. One card in hand for Chris Pikula. Wafo-Tapa doesn't want to run into a second Divine Verdict here.
Yeah, Reverend Hunter comes into play as a 5/5 here.
For 3.
Yeah. All the Juzam Jin, 3/4 of the price.
I think he, and no downside. I think did he just play it? Yeah.
Yeah. Again, not a lot of danger of going. Here it comes.
So 2 cards.
So will Chris block both?
Reverend Hunter is actually a 6/6 because it gets that 5 counters.
Oh yeah,
and
you're
it's
right,
a 1/1.
It's a 6, so it's even better.
It's even better.
Yeah, you're right.
All right, so Guillaume does attack with both of his creatures, and this is going to put Chris Pikula in such a bad spot.
Right. We know he has to block with both.
He does. If he does not, he will lose. Guillaume decided to take the risk on. Remember, Chris can have, he can have a few things here. He can't have Griptide, but he can have Voyage's End potentially. Yeah. But does your opponent really splash a Voyage's End? It doesn't seem that likely.
How is Chris blocking? We could get the overhead view. I saw him. Yep, he pushed his creatures. He pushed the bigger creature in front of the Trampling Vulpine Goliath. He pushed the Wingsteed Rider in front of the Centaur Battlemaster.
So blocked perfectly, given the only choice that he had. But Savage Surge is actually going to hit Vulpine Goliath here.
And untap it.
And make a trade. And that's going to knock off the 2 bestow creatures which are left over from the Agent of Horizon. So Chris can make that play and feel pretty confident there. What did he draw? He drew a Sedge Scorpion.
Oh.
Like the best possible card against that
fantastic.
Centaur Battlemaster. Also the Reverend Hunter. So a really good draw for Chris Pikula. Is it going to be enough? Staunch-Hearted Warrior for Guillaume, and he just has to pass back. So we get draw steps. Unfortunately for Chris, it was a land. But he's going to make sure to keep maximum bluff equity going. He's got both cards in his hand, so he can try to represent any number of spells. And there's a Nessian Courser. Chris is at 5 after taking that 1 trample. What did he draw? God's Willing?
God's Willing, yeah.
Not ideal here. It's more a creature game, but he'll take it.
Oh, and that is an Observer and Alciad.
Yeah.
And that is... that's pretty brutal on a Centaur Battlemaster.
I mean,
it comes in 8/8.
It would, except for that Scorpion's going to be like, dink, hit its ankle, and down it goes.
That's true, yeah.
But at some point, Guillaume is just going to accept the fact that he's going to have to trade something in.
He's going to send something in.
I mean, maybe it's just a Reverend Hunter. Maybe he waits till he draws a combat trick.
I mean, he could send in anything. He could send in the Courser.
Yes.
Right, and it eats any creature.
That's right.
But no, he is going to play the Alciad as a bestow creature.
Looks like he's going for the Staunch-Hearted Warrior.
Right.
It seems like a perfectly reasonable choice.
Maximum big dudes.
That's right.
That becomes a 6/6.
And he actually has some really nice attacks here if he wants them.
This is certainly the problem with being green-white, is you just don't have the same recovery ability
No.
that some of the other decks offer you. I kind of like the blue in this deck for Chris, actually, for the Voyage's End.
Wafo-Tapa is sitting at 13 life, so he can send in a bunch of his creatures and not have to worry too much about the swing back from Pikula, who has 3 cards in his hand. And looks like Wafo-Tapa decided to leave back the Centaur Battlemaster and just attack with those 3.
So
Pikula's
he can
got to make some decisions here.
So he can actually...
He can do some work.
He can actually get 2 uses out of the Sedge Scorpion because he has God's Willing in hand.
Absolutely. Tough spot here for Chris Pikula. He's been behind for a while. He was ahead for a couple of turns early, and now he's just been scrambling to not die. These things all happen. Scry 1,
pushes
ship that
very
away.
quickly.
Yeah, when you see that, it's almost always a land. That dies, and Chris Pikula drops down to 2. All right, so this is it. This is the draw step for Chris Pikula. If he doesn't hit something here, what did he draw? It was not a land. I didn't see what it was, though. I think it was a traveling philosopher. That is what it was. So that will keep him alive this turn, potentially. And what is it for Guillaume? It's not time to feed,
It looks like it's Warrior's Lesson.
Warrior's Lesson, okay.
Yeah, it's like attack with everybody.
He does exactly that, attacks with everybody. Chris is going to put Sedge Scorpion in front of Centaur Battlemaster. And then we've got a chump and a trade here. So everybody gets blocked for Chris Pikula. Okay. So that's going to leave 1 creature left that is kind of like 2 creatures.
Yeah, a pretty resilient one.
It is, and they're both lethal. What is it for Pikula? He's drawn a creature. Is it an Nessian Courser?
Yes, it is.
It is, but unfortunately it's a Nessian Chump Blocker this time. And he does just that, doing everything he can to stay in this game. What was that?
It's the Heliod's enchantment.
Chosen by Heliod.
Chosen by
okay.
Heliod, yeah.
Yep, and Chris Pikula plays his land for the turn, passes the turn back.
Does he have Divine Verdict?
Is that a Voyage's End in his hand? What is that? It is Voyage's End. So, you know, we were talking about that earlier. If Guillaume Wafo-Tapa could really put Chris Pikula on Voyage's End, well, he absolutely can. And he's got it. Bounce your Staunch-Hearted Warrior back to your hand. That's going to drop off the Alsea. That's also going to get rid of Chosen by Heliod. Or Heliod's, yeah. So there's a 2/2. And yet another lethal threat. Chris Pikula
pushes the card to the bottom.
Down. Yep.
Yeah.
And here comes Staunch-Hearted Warrior again. This should do it here. And that's going to do it. Chris Pikula falls to Guillaume Wafo-Tapa 2-2-0.
And that means as we head into the constructed rounds,
behind in that race real fast.
That's 9 and 2 for Wafo-Tapa, 8 and 3 for Chris Pikula. Still alive for
Very
top 8,
strong, yes.
top 16.
Ultra Pro is the leading manufacturer of trading card game sleeves and deck boxes. If you're looking for official Theros portfolios, card storage boxes, deck boxes, sleeves, and playmats, Ultra Pro has you covered. For more information, visit wizards.com/magic-merchandise. So Cuneo versus Mariano Cardicini is where we're going to be going here.
Yeah, Mariano Cardicini is a very popular Argentinian player on social media.
He is. You put that as subtly as possible. There's a bit of a campaign, and here he is. You take a look at Andrew Cuneo, one of the game's true veterans. Been around forever.
Oh yeah, a couple of Team Pro Tour top 8s, top 4s.
Back in the day, as we say.
In Madison Square Garden.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So Mariano Cardicini, by the way, is playing in his first Pro Tour.
Okay.
He's a 28-year-old PTQ winner from Argentina. He has 1 lifetime pro point from 3 GPs.
Hey, that's what I have.
Do you?
Yeah.
Are you still waiting on your first Pro Tour?
I am. I find that it's hard to
And there we get a look at Andrew
time.
Cuneo's record.
2 Pro Tour top 8s. Yep.
38 years old, 120 points, $50,000 in winnings. 1 Grand Prix top 8, which is something we saw him do with Malirapod when we were in, I believe that was in Nebraska, in Lincoln. So off to a not so rip-roaring start here.
But like we mentioned earlier, Andrew Cuneo, you know, Cuneo is known specifically for playing control decks. He's a very patient player who will take the game to the extreme long end of it, and looks like he's aiming to do that here. This is going to be Thassa's Emissary. Is this going to? It does resolve, so no dissolve here for Andrew Cuneo. He for sure would have used it there unless he has some other answer, but he doesn't.
And he is playing 2 dissolves.
He is playing 2 of them. Didn't happen to have one there, and now the Emissary here is going to start doing some serious work. Martin Yuza on our side table just defeated Alexander Hayne 2 games to 0.
So he is also at 8-3.
He is.
And
good to see him succeeding here. Hopefully he can keep it up.
Omen Speaker just kind of, oops. It looks like he's like, oh, I don't have a second blue.
Yeah, he didn't have a second blue, so instead he just has to pass the turn back.
He's like, I will just show you this.
You see a keepsake Gorgon here.
Prescient Chimera.
Yeah.
You can somehow see it coming.
He just made Andrew Cuneo the prescient one out of the group.
Prescient Cuneo.
Yeah. All right, so actually it wasn't the keepsake Gorgon that he played. He has drawn a Sealock monster for the turn. He's decided to play that instead.
And he could give Kardakini his extra island he needs.
He could. He could also just make it a double island. All right, there's an Ordeal of Nylea and an attack here. So this is a 4-4 into a 5-5, and Cuneo says, okay, man.
He's like, I don't know
Show
you.
me. Savage Surge incoming. That it is. Savage Surge incoming. But you know what? Cuneo says, sure, I'll trade my card for your card, and you don't get to draw an extra one. And now he has a better chance of sticking that keepsake Gorgon. But he's got a 6. What is his 6? Sip of Hemlock. Yum, yum.
Yeah.
Crack the crab.
Card that's been just going up and up, right?
Agreed.
In terms of your black pick orders.
It has, and that's also why we were talking a little earlier about Divine Verdict. And, you know, I like the ability to just kill something. There's a lot of, you know, big green creatures that you need to kill in this format. And Cuneo now following up with the keepsake Gorgon.
There are 3 Sealock monsters in Andrew Cuneo's deck.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, really interesting.
Sealock control.
Both of these players, both of them, are playing a card I haven't had a chance to play with personally.
Which was?
And something I know people really like. They both have Curse of Swine.
I've played with that a bunch. I don't know how it is that I open that up all the time, but that card is sweet.
Yeah, is it? I mean, I understand it. I just haven't had a chance to play with it.
It's really cool. All right, here it is. Andrew Cuneo battling with his Gorgon. The Staunch-Hearted Warrior can do nothing. And Cuneo has a Coastline Chimera for the Shields Up backup plan. He's got another play here, though.
Oh, and another Coastline Chimera.
Coastline Chimera. So he just added 10 toughness to his board this turn. Yeah, I've had the Curse of the Swine into Sea God's Revenge. It's pretty sweet. This little piggy went to market.
And these 3 little piggies drowned.
Yes. Oh, and I scry one. All right. So no big plays here. Disciple of Nylea there for Mariano and pass the turn back. So Andrew.
Okay, Curse of the Swine is going to be pretty nice here for Mariano if he could draw an island. Get rid of those flyers. Deal with that Gorgon.
Yeah, take the keepsake Gorgon out. I mean, Andrew Cuneo is sitting, trying to decide what he wants to do. He's got 2 cards in hand at the moment. And he has the mana to pay the monstrosity cost for his keepsake Gorgon.
Yeah, I mean, can't you just, yes. He's going to send it in, just those 2, just the flyers.
Yep, that's the Cuneo method, you know. Do the least possible each turn. Yeah, I'd be surprised if he actually played anything. Yeah, he didn't. So he's just going to leave up his keepsake Oregon mana here and pass turn back.
There we see a Wave Crash type Triton.
Yep.
Also holding a Artisan Sorrow, which I imagine he saw something that he wanted that for.
Yep. All right, so Andrew Cuneo is deciding. Now we're on Mariano's end step right now, and he's deciding if he wants to use up the mana and fire off that keepsake organ, and if so, what he wants to target with it. A lot of his decision making is going to be based on how he wants to sequence his mana. If he doesn't use the keepsake organ now, he can have that ability for a bigger, more important threat later.
He knows there's no Griptide, right? Because only 3 mana up, no blue up. This is about as good a time as any to do it.
And he does, in fact, fire it off. So now the question becomes, what do you kill? And it's going to be the Staunch Hearted Warrior.
Yep.
He's going to kill the card with the most potential upside here for Mariano. And this is going to allow Cuneo to keep the beatdowns going here. He is ahead in the damage race, and he just drew a Dissolve. He's got to be so excited to see that. Counter spells for Cuneo. He's very comfortable with those in his hand, and now he's got a backup plan. He's going to leave one of the Coastline Chimeras back on blocking duty. He doesn't want to trade 1 damage for 3 damage at this point, so he just swings in there for 4. Keepsake Organ, one of the best uncommons in the set. It is a complete stop sign for anything that wants to attack.
Yeah, we've talked about how big that, what a factor Death Touch is.
Yes.
In making decisions and how it deals with all these kind of like creatures that you can't really hit.
Right.
With the majority of the removal, they're just too big.
That's right, and all of a sudden, Keepsake Organ does it by itself and also becomes that sip of hemlock that you didn't pick up. Yeah. You know, it costs a little more, it's a little different, but still.
So Nylea's Emissary with Bestow targets the Wave Crash Triton.
Now, even if Andrew were to dissolve this, it has still been targeted. So the trigger is going to happen. Something's going to get tapped down. It's going to stay tapped down for a turn. But Andrew is going to fire off Dissolve on the Emissary. This is going to get a Scry here. And this is where Scrying becomes incredibly good because it starts to become almost card-like when you ship away a land. Yeah. It's close to drawing a card. All right, Mariano attacks with both of his creatures.
Get a 19.
And 1 damage comes in there. Now, Andrew Cuneo, his Keepsake Organ's not going to untap until next turn, but no big deal. Did he draw another Dissolve? I couldn't quite see.
It looked like he drew Curse of the Swine.
Oh, his own Curse of the Swine?
Yeah.
Oh, he did.
I mean, he would be upgrading possibly the the Wave Crash Triton.
Yeah. That's more insurance, though, for Andrew Cuneo, just in case Mariano comes up with something insane.
Right. So, like,
Prescient Chimera.
Something like Arbor Colossus.
Yeah, something like that. Exact. Good example. Arbor Colossus, that is a magic card, BDM. That thing does serious work. All right, so same play as last time. Except for we have a Savage Surge now, and that actually is going to get through that Coastline Chimera. I don't think the Cuneo's too worried about it, though. It's like, yeah, whatever. We got another one. Cuneo draws his card for the turn. It was a Vaporkin. Cuneo attacks with his Keepsake Organ. It has its 1 monstrosity counter on it, so that's going to be 3. And there's a Vaporkin and an island. It says go. So Andrew Cuneo still looks very much in the driver's seat here. He also has 3 power of flying in the air, which represents 3 turn clock.
And no second blue here for Karkini. He's been waiting all weekend to get it on the camera, but a little disappointing.
As a reminder here, these players are tied at 1 game apiece, so this is the game 3 decider for this last round of draft.
This is the last match in the feature match area. Everything else is resolved. This looks like a Baleful Eidolon for. Yes, it is freshly drawn Baleful Eidolon.
All right, Cuneo's going to battle here. This is for 5. This is a nice little attack. It's going to set up the win
Balfour
next turn.
on his Chimera.
He does.
He's like, not only is my guy really difficult for you to attack through, but now when it blocks stuff, it'll die.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. You don't usually see. Bestow creatures played so defensively.
And hey,
There's
we
the
finally
Artisan
found
Sorrows.
an Artisan Sorrow target.
Make it live.
Yeah, and he's just going to rip through now. He does finally find that second island, and he's going to have to put it on top. It's a bit of a bummer to have to put a land on top at this late stage. I mean, he's already got, what, 7 lands? But
well, he did get to push
needs
the
it.
other one, right?
He did. It was a forest, and he shipped it. So this is going to allow Mariano a chance to finally. He pump faked us on that prescient chimera earlier, but now he actually gets to play it. Andrew Cuneo has his dissolve mana all set up there, just just to intimidate. Doesn't have it in his hand though, so will resolve.
Mariano's
Mariano
at
goes
3. What is his best course here?
He has to play a flyer right now.
Well, he could also play Cursive Swine.
Okay, and get everything down on the ground.
Everything down to 3 2/2s.
I like that.
Because as it stands now, he can't block the Gorgon. So he's got to just trade a creature.
He can just chump it.
Yeah, he can just chump it.
Yeah.
So,
I think he's just got to fire off Curse of the Swine here.
Yeah.
Just make some pigs. He does. Target your 3 creatures. Cuneo looks at his hand, says, oh, I've got one of those. I like that artwork. So Mariano attempting to go hog wild here. And it happens. All right, so release the pigs. There they are.
right.
I think they're technically boars.
Yeah. I don't have a specific
But I'm not going to
course
get
yet.
technical here.
Yeah.
They certainly don't look like boars, I'll tell you that. And that's a nice little stabilizer there for Mariano Carduccini.
Yeah,
He
so
could,
Cuneo can get him to 1, but it would come at the expense of some pork.
yes,
And
that
he would
could
be
be
down to 2 creatures.
yeah, an untenable situation there. So this could get really interesting
Of course,
here.
he could cast Curse of the Swine on Mariano's creatures, attack with everybody. Mariano has to trade 2 tokens for 2 tokens.
Yeah.
And Andrew has the last pig standing.
That's right. This was interesting
But
last
he
turn.
just chooses not to do that.
Yeah, because last turn Andrew could have attacked with
and
his
there's-
coastline
and there's your
chimera.
combo.
Oh wow,
There's
he
your
did it.
combo.
Wow, I just mentioned that, but let's wash away. It looks like he's going to be patient here.
Yeah.
And it's a read the bones for
that
Andrew
patience,
Cuneo.
That patience might get him because now if Andrew were to swine these 3 creatures, he would have to take.
He would just have to trade
He would
off
have to
all his
trade
team.
all of them,
Yeah, you're right. Well, it was interesting
But I don't
because
know. I don't. Oh, and there's is
the
that a
turn
whip
before
of Erebos?
the turn before Andrew Cuneo could have attacked with his coastline chimera. He decided not to. He was at 17 life, and he could have actually got Mariano down to 2, but he didn't. He wanted to leave it back to block.
There's the whip of Erebos. We just saw this
Oh
card.
no!
Played to devastating effect
This
by
could
Kai
be.
Bode.
This should be not quite game here, but there's the Sealock monster, and thanks to the island that Mariano just naturally has here, it can in fact attack. Doesn't need to be, no monstrous needs to happen or anything like that. So send it in. It's lethal. And Mariano's trying to decide if he wants to chump block or put multiples up. Right now, Andrew Cuneo completely tapped out, so Mariano has perfect information about what risks and rewards he's going to get from different blocking scenarios. Seems like a chump block is in order here. I mean, the thing has to go away anyway, right? So it's just a matter of what creature do I want to lose.
5 life there.
He does. All right, so you got to figure Sea God's Revenge is in the works here now, right?
Yeah. Sea God's Revenge, those tokens. I don't have doing a little quick creature count on who's there. There's an Omen Speaker. I see a Baleful Eidolon. We know those 2 Horizon Chimeras are there. There's still a Keepsake Gorgon in there.
Yes.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. There isn't. The curse exiles.
Oh, that's right. The curse does. So those are all sitting on the side.
Yeah. So
that's really important here.
There's definitely an Omen Speaker and a Baleful Eidolon.
Yeah, but that's really important here.
Yeah. Here comes Sea God Revenge.
I love this card.
Scry.
Yeah. Sea God's Revenge. He's going to return...
Well, first he's going to scry.
Scry once, twice.
Yeah.
Tragedy at the Porkyard, a flood. And Mariano is really deep in the tank about this scry. He gets another scry, and he's just, of course, going to leave it there.
Can he afford? Oh, I guess he can't afford to do that. There's no...
He's just going to be taking one here. But you got to wonder if you want to take any damage at all at this stage.
Well, you know, it's funny. It's one unless, you know, he draws a bestow creature, right? It could be...
that's a good point.
You know, if he draws like any kind of like bestow 2.
Yeah, a Cavern Lampad.
Yeah.
He's got the mana to do it. All right.
It's like such a Cuneo thing to do.
Now, Cuneo can also...
crack the whip back for an Omen Speaker.
It is, but he can actually... This is interesting because he can do this to his own creature if he wants to and upgrade. But he's not going to. He is going to create a lethal threat instead with an insatiable harpy. So this is a huge draw step here for Mariano as he's at 2 and facing down a 2-power flyer on the other side of the table. He does have Prescient Chimera on his side, so he's got a blocker.
And we know he
but
kept,
he is in a precarious...
And we know he kept Savage Surge on top of his library.
That's what he kept?
Yeah. I believe so.
Okay. Nessian Courser.
Oh, I'm sorry, a Feral Invocation.
Okay. Combat Trick. Ooh, and Andrew Cuneo does what he does best, draws a counter spell off the top, and is looking to be in the driver's seat.
Well, he just can swine away the flyer.
Looks like he's going to go for the team here. It does downgrade all of them, and that's going to do it. Andrew Cuneo pulls out the victory. Mariano Cardicini falls 2-1.
Right. And Andrew Cuneo goes to 7-4, still fighting for a...
Hey guys, welcome back to the booth.
Andrew's still looking to make a deep run. Maybe not make top 8, but you know, still finish top 16, top 32 at X and 4, X and 5.
And start stringing things together.
Yeah,
that's how they
stringing
do it
them
out
together.
here.
Exactly.
I mean, it is a grind. You know, you do have to, like, sure, sometimes you just make a top 8 run and it happens for you, but oftentimes it's a matter of being persistent and putting together solid finishes.
Right.
Top 32s consistently will reward you greatly.
And every match ends up meaning something, right? Every pro point ends up meaning something at the end of the year when you stack them all up on top of each other.
In a big way. Yeah, absolutely. Great stuff. We got to see some veterans of the game down there in the feature match area, some relative newcomers as well.
Yeah, well, I mean Mariano Cardicini, he's playing his first Pro Tour.
Literally his first Pro Tour.
And we're going to put you on camera playing against Andrew Cuneo. Let me tell you something. I've been playing Magic for a long time.
Yes.
I've been playing for just under 20 years, playing Magic. Been on the Pro Tour, played at Grand Prix, been on camera in front of, you know, untold thousands of people.
Writing articles, doing all your stuff.
I had to play against Andrew Cuneo at Grand Prix Las Vegas on camera. I was terrified. I was terrified.
I was commenting that one. Yeah.
I was terrified.
Yeah. He has been playing forever. I mean, he's been playing for
I think he might be playing longer than me. He might be a beta era player.
It's pretty cool. I mean, we really did get the full gamut there.
Yeah.
We have a guy that's like, "Hey, I'm at the Pro Tour," and then we have Andrew Cuneo walk in. All right, so it looks like Richard Hagan is ready to take it away back at the news desk.
He's now 9-2. That means John Finkel 0-3 this draft at 7-4, right on the edge. Not absolutely out because he had a good run to start with, but 7-4, last chance saloon for him. And then Jeremy Desani, your other co-leader at 10-1, he defeated Lucas Yaklowski. Yaklowski now 9-2. Now on the other side, we were following pod 3, and there they were already with 2 losses coming in at 6-2. There you see it on the right-hand side. Let's tell you how they did. Peter Ingram won to go to 7-4 over Ola Rada of Sweden, the Hall of Famer, now at 6-5, definitely eliminated from top 8 contention. Hao Shanghuang is 8-3, but the big winner at this table is Ben Friedman, 9-2. Luke Southworth is 7-4. Pat Chapin 8-3. He beat Luke Southworth in the last round. Christian Calcano 8-3, having lost twice to Ben Friedman, as I say, so far this weekend. And your number 15 in the top 25, Louis Scott Vargas, clinging on in there at 7-4. Calcano beat him 2-0 this round. All right, so that's up to date with our scoreboard. We'll bring you a full master list as we head back into standard. But it's lunchtime. We've got a ton of features, and we're going to begin with first pick, first pack.